Welcome back to Business Help. In this video, we're going to be going over a charts and graphs tutorial here. So let's get started here. So where do you find how to make a chart or graph? So you're going to go up to the top. Here we're going to click on the Insert tab. On the ribbon here, we're going to go over to the chart section here. So now here you can see there's recommended charts, and then if you hover over there's different types of charts you can click on here. So we're just going to first start off by highlighting this information here, and we're just going to click on recommended charts. All right, so now as you can see, it gives us several options here for recommended charts. So how do we insert one of these into our graph? We're just going to click on it, and we're going to go down to here and hit OK. So once you hit OK, now that we have, it shows this. So the easiest way to move a chart around here is you get the corners, because corners, there's not going to be any of this data here, because let's say we click here in the middle, it's going to highlight all this data, and we'd be able to move the data to a different spot within this. Or if we click over here, it's going to move that. So I always click on the corners. It's going to be the easiest thing to move the chart with. So we're going to go to this corner, drag it over here. Just click and drag with this. So now that we got this over here, we realize we don't have a chart title. So all you do, double click in here. I'm going to bring this format chart title up, which gives you different options to fill it in, what to move stuff around. We'll cover that later in a different tutorial. So now all we're going to do is we're going to type in sales sheet. All right, and we're going to click off that, and now it's going to save it for us. So now that we have our chart title and everything, let's say we don't want to have everything. Let's just say let's make a chart based off of what's the percentage final price and the company. So to do that, we're going to highlight this over here. So we got all our companies highlighted. We're going to hit our Control key, and then we're going to go over and highlight the final price category. So now the final price category and the company are all highlighted. Then we're going to Insert. We're going to go to Recommended Charts. For this one, we're going to go to All Charts. That's how you get access to all the different types of charts. And there's many different things. You can make your own templates, but we're going to go to Pi. So in Pi, there's 3D versions, Pi of Pi. There's different things you can look at here. So we're just going to do a normal pie chart. That way we can show you everything, make it real easy. We're going to hit OK. All right, so now it's got our chart title and everything. Still is blank. Let's go ahead and fill it in. We're going to name that Final Price. Final Price. All right, so let's move this to a different sheet. So to do that, all we're going to do is going to right click on it. We're going to go to Move Chart. And now we can move to New Sheet. Let's name this Final Price Chart. All right, hit OK. So now it's going to take this chart and put it on its own sheet. So let's just drag this back to this side. You're just going to click on it and drag it so the arrow's over here. So we have our sales sheet first. All right, now we're going to go back to the Final Price Chart. So now you can see, if you hover over it, you can see the values of each of these. But how do we make it display these? So we're going to go over here to the top right. Click on Chart Elements. And now we're going to add data labels. So now it's going to display all of these labels for us, but they aren't really easy to see. So let's click on this little arrow here for us. Let's put it on the outside end for us. Perfect. So now we can all see them a lot easier of which one goes with what. So that's one easy way to do that. So also here, while we're on this chart, we got a chart design up here at the top. We got a quick layout where we can go ahead and move things around very easily and just figure out what we want without even having to do a whole lot of work. Just quick layout, or we can go up here and also change what the chart looks like. Let's say we like one of these because they look better, or matches our stuff better. We're gonna go ahead and use this one. All right, so now that we have all of this figured out, we're gonna go back to our other sheet. So that's what you can do with these charts. But there's one other type of chart we have that we haven't covered, and you can make most charts out of it. We're going to have to make this a table, though. We're going to make it as a table by simply highlighting all this information right here. We're going to format it as a table. It's going to be a pivot table here for us. That way we're able to, you're just going to click on that, format as table, and hit OK. All right, so now it's a table for us. This is actually a pivot table, to be more specific. So pivot tables what they're going to do is I'm going to quickly highlight. We're going to make this same chart right here. I'm just going to go over and highlight all this. It's going to be the same steps as we did before. We're going to do recommended charts. Perfect. It's got the same chart. Besides the title we don't have right now filled in, it's going to be the same chart here. Let me just zoom out so you can see a little better. So, all right, so it's the same chart right there. So what's different about a pivot chart? Let's say I go over here and remove something. Let's say I click on this arrow. Let's remove Bill's Bakery. All right, Bill's Bakery is no longer showing on either of these. That's what makes a pivot chart much different than a normal chart in a normal table. Because now pivot charts, they're impacted by something else. So let's go ahead and click this off. All right, so now let's go ahead and, so that's how I can easily go ahead and make something and turn it off just by making this simply a table. That's why when I make charts, I'm always going to normally put this over here in a table and take it to make my chart, because no matter what, it's going to be a lot easier to sort this over here than it is going to be to remove something over here. And then if I remove it over here, I have to completely redo my chart and start all over. That's why I love using tables to make charts. And one other thing, let's say I remove this over here. It's also going to impact the same table on a different sheet. Let's go over the final price chart. Now, the company that I removed, Brandy Aquarium, is no longer over here. It's going to be the same thing, because now this is a table. It's going to be able to remove this and sort things. So I do have a tutorial on pivot tables, and that is where we covered some of this, but I felt it would be important to include here. So all these charts here, now there's many other things we can do, like this chart. We'll go back to this chart. Now to probably get out of this, I had to go back to chart design or format. Then I can go ahead and reformat everything. So let's go back to chart design. So what happens if I want to change all these data labels to make them different? So now that we got this highlighted, let's say I want to make them bigger. I can just click on the data labels, go to home, and let's say let's make them 15. So now they're going to stand out more. You just simply go back over here and click on it. Same thing here. Let's make this 15 as well, or legend. All right, so now that both those are easier to see, and a lot easier to see, you just have to click on them simply to change them. Same thing here with our final price. Let's make this 20. Many different things we can go ahead and do here. And also, now that it is a pivot table, we can chart filters. So now we can go ahead and filter anything out we don't want on here. So that's another thing. It gives you the option to filter over on the chart as well. So let's see what else. Let's say I want to turn off my legend. I can click there and now no longer have my legend, and same thing here. Chart title, I can turn both those off. I'm going to leave them on here. But there's a couple more features I'm going to show you on this sheet. Let me go ahead and zoom in here for you. So on this sheet, if you look here, we're going to have other things like data labels. Let's say I want to add those same things we've shown before. But we have axis titles. So now these axis titles, if I click them, they're going to be your, let's say I want to make something like your quantity or the original price. Those are what the axis titles are going to do for you. I can go ahead and also put a data table. It's just going to make a giant table as well for you at the bottom. Error bars, that's going to give you some different errors you can add to it. Or a trend line. These are all things, and within each of these, you're going to have options just by clicking on this arrow on the right if you hover over them. So there are many different things for the charts. We're going to be doing another tutorial next week on charts to go more in depth about all these options we can do here. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this got you up to speed on mostly how you can do charts and the basic elements of them. And especially if you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also like this video. And thank you for watching. And check out my other videos.